Do we all remember back to the 1980s when we had a series of comedies, one of which came out, Spies Like Us? Well, here we have today astronauts like us. Welcome to Digital Insecurity. Space flight is now open to regular, well, rich people. I just wanted to take us down this exciting day today as Branson took a leap into suborbital flight. Again, this is really, really important as it was a big launch by the media. Right here on the screen, I have CNN's breaking news. Branson holds press conference after successful space flight. Again, he left Earth, he went up into a suborbital loop and returned back to Earth safely. So we're now going to be able to do this more on a routine basis. When is Jeff Bezos leaving Earth? I mean, when is his flight? And how different is his? Let's just take a quick peek of this. This is on New York Times, Kenneth Chang, and this was also released today. On July 20th, another billionaire is scheduled to take another rocket to the edge of space. And I wanted to go down a little bit further here. When he founded his own company, and of course it's called Blue Origin, with the vision of millions of people living and working in space in the future. But the company's first vehicle, New Shepard, has much more modest ambitions. Like Virgin Galactic's Spaceship Two, it is designed to take people on short suborbital trips, providing about 4 minutes of weightlessness. Now you see this. Remember the movie Something About Mary? There was a point at which they were trying to say, well, can you do it in 1 minute? Can you do it in 30 seconds? Can you, to try and beat the other? So here we have Virgin Galactic Spaceship Two up for 3 minutes, and this one will give you 4 minutes. Unlike Spaceship Two, New Shepard is more a traditional rocket launched upward before the capsule detaches from a booster rocket. The booster then returns, making a vertical landing, much as the larger Falcon 9, which is run by SpaceX, while the capsule descends back to the ground under a parachute. And here's that one. So here we have an overview. This was the Wall Street Journal. You can see different concepts on the way that's going to look. I don't know if we're going on looks. I'd rather not fly a big, well, we know what that is, but this one looks a little cooler if we run into any aliens out there. But Elon Musk also has a ticket to space. But when's he going to go? So let's take a peek at this one. This, of course, is Wall Street Journal updated today. As Branson's Virgin Galactic Holdings and Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin race their billionaires into space, Elon Musk, a third billionaire pursuing space tourism, already has his own ticket. You're right, with Virgin Galactic. So let's go on down here. A spokesman for Galactic said Mr. Musk had bought a ticket for his own ride into space. It is unclear how far up the waiting list Mr. Musk is for a seat. Virgin Galactic said his tickets have sold for $250,000 each. So of course, this is open to anyone. And the company has collected 80 million in sales and deposits. So you can do the math on that. So anyway, this is a very, very exciting day. I'm making light of it, but this opens up a whole new opportunity for us where space really is the final frontier. I wanted to point this out, though. This is not new. So here we are, July of 2021. But of course, just 10 years ago, May of 2011, Virgin Galactic itself did a launch outside the Mojave Desert in California. And in fact, you can go to the Virgin Galactic site for updates and more information on this, but they had a very successful suborbital flight at that time and have been regularly doing other missions to perfect it. So Mr. Branson was not some brave soul trying something new. We've got over a decade of success here. I wanted to pause here before I move forward. There's quite a bit on YouTube that you can research to find out a little bit more. Virgin Galactic was actually in space for the first time, it says 2 years ago, but we just saw the successful space launch actually 10 years ago. So I'm not quite clear what their differentiation there. I think they're trying to bring it closer to the timeline, but we've got 10 years ago of space. Now here we have suborbital trajectory basics, and this is what it looks like generally for the rocket to go up above the Earth get into the suborbital. So it's not quite into outer space, but it's still within the orbit of the Earth. So we're not breaking out. And then a safe return back into space. Now, what's interesting here is we have been flying in regular airlines, tin cans in the sky, for what are we at now, 50, 60 years? It's time to make a change. And one of the questions here is, could SpaceX's BFR replace traditional airliners? So we've got a level of how far is this technology going to take us, and to help you and I. Another one I wanted to look at here is Copenhagen suborbitals, the incredible DIY rocket scientists on a mission to send a human to space. This was 2 years ago. So if you want to find more about the let's see, I think it's a Spica rocket. And then here we have CNBC, can SpaceX make point-to-point space travel profitable? So there's quite a bit there. It's really an exciting chance to see where technology is taking us. A lot of logistics to go in this. Cost, of course, is a consideration, and safety. We will never get that mid-80s issue out of our heads, really. So we're very glad to move beyond that. And here, of course, in the other page, it referenced suborbital flight 2 years ago. So I showed you 10 years ago, and this is 2 years ago. And then here we have the New Shepard successfully did a test 8 months ago. So we are now in the race, but we are not the only ones in the race. Of course, China and Russia really didn't let go in outer space. In fact, as you know, when NASA stepped back, Russia was taking our astronauts up to the ISS, International Space Station. And so we've seen quite a bit of movement, although on our level, not a lot has come out around the intelligence and specifically digital security. Now, here's an article that came up 2019. This was February. Both China and Russia, according to the US DIA, which is Defense Intelligence Agency, are developing military capabilities in space, from laser weapons to ground-based anti-satellite missiles. I thought that didn't exist. Well, we all know it does, and this was actually in CNBC in 2019. The agency acts as the Pentagon's top intelligence arm. DIA's report said China is second only to the United States in the number of operational satellites. Not so much there, maybe a little out of order. Pentagon warns of weaponization of space by China and Russia was the title of the article. So from there, I want to take a peek into what happened that same year. So again, that was February of 2019. By August of 2019, Mr. T had his ceremony in his rose garden. And then by December of 2019, we really got the formal forming and media release. Even though the ceremony had happened in August, and even though we've been in space for many, many decades, and even though there hasn't been full transparency, at least this is a pulling back the curtain moment. And this was a turning point that, yes, we can have a space force and we need to have a space force. But in reality, we already had a space force. So now what happens that it's no longer a Black Ops project and it's in the public eye. They have a budget to work within, and they also are susceptible to FOIAs. So those are the positives of releasing this. But this was, again, December 20th, 2019. This article was on defense.gov. This was by Jim Garamone of DoD News. Trump signed the National Defense Authorization Act during a ceremony at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland today. At the $738 billion fiscal year 2020 authorization funds military and civilian pay raises, new aircraft, ship construction, tanks, and armored vehicles, and allowed for, let's see here, the acknowledgement of the project. So this really is an amazing feat that acknowledgement happened on this level, as we were all waiting for formal acknowledgement back in June, which, as we saw, was a drip at best, this was at least a step in the right direction. So from here, where do we go? In the articles this week, I'm going to review a little bit more about Starlink. There is quite a bit there that ties more into our digital insecurity conversations. But I wanted to take a moment today before we jump into Starlink and how that's going to really hit society. I wanted to take a moment away from this huge, I just want to shift us back to how exciting this is. Humanity on a more mass level is now free from planet Earth. This is going to grant us immense options. And I don't mean just for vacations or the next shiny object, but we're going to see just a shift to our culture, society, and technology out of leaps like this. So this is Digital Insecurity, Astronauts Like Us is a presentation. And again, celebrate, space flight is now open to regular, well, rich people.